What's up, guys? Vince Reddy here, and welcome to my review of Risk. Basically, the newest episode for my Miraculous Ladybug, which is episode 25, season 4. And this is actually an English dub, which is good because, that's the only thing I ever watch is dub. Mostly, I do all my reading within my videos enough as it is and pretty much reading class and I just read 24/7. I have a couple of books to get through, and as well as the videos that you guys been asking for. Yes, that's usually spent in my lots of my reading, especially getting caught up. Anyways, but good thing there's a dub here. Finally, no like French or Portuguese dubbing. Nope, just the usual English dub that I so been waiting for. And I heard that this episode was being leaked. I could be wrong. And also, yeah, this is kind of like the first half of season 1. Oh, wait, no, finale, part 1. Because basically the part 2 is going to be the big thing, and they really set up big for this, especially for what is about to come in the later episode, especially that cliffhanger that just happened within this episode. But yeah, it seems like this one was actually not that bad. It was pretty good. I see it for being one of the best episodes out there that most people kind of hyped up for it. I've been hearing a couple of reviews here and there, not to steal, but also just to gather as much people as many people's thoughts of this episode. And so far they say like this is the best one, this is perfect, and I can see why, because of just how it really doesn't rely on fighting. It mostly relies on the dialogue and also the conversation and the relationship between the others, that especially when it comes down to Adrian's relationship with Ladybug, or relationship with uh Marinette, with with Lila, if you ever call that a relationship, and also with the father. And you see how Adrian is really going through it. And I feel like this last season has been, especially the season 4 of the last couple of episodes, been really, ephemeral. And of course, like Kuroneko is all centered around Adrian. You really see true how this is all starting to be centered around Adrian, and I start to see that. I start to see that Adrian is sort of like, of course he's the main character, but it's also like, as well as Ladybug, especially Marinette is the main character. But for Adrian, is going through it, having the most hardest time than anyone else in this whole cast. So it's interesting to see how they really portray that and how they really go through different areas surrounding what Adrian is going through, especially within his relationship with his father. And sometimes like sense of familyhood within Natalie, and also just the others as well, especially whoever he communicates with, and his feelings and his assumptions about others, especially surrounding Ladybug, feeling like I'm not worthy anymore. We saw a little bit more of that of Kuroneko, a little sorry. But yeah, this is pretty much like how it really adds up. And I add a couple of points here. This is not my usual beginning to end. This is kind of like a couple of highlights that I really put in this list. So bear with me. And especially for many people that seen my reviews of many Ladybug episode reviews that I did, especially season 4, since this is the only kind of season that I reviewed and that I talked about. I'm not really the best, and I kind of keep saying that, and I'm trying not to say it, but it's, there are so many other people within the fandom that has gotten way better with their analyzation and reviews of these different episodes. And pretty much if you look at their reviews itself, they, me, I kind of tackle what's realistic and also tackle what I find interesting, I would say. And there's a lot of it that's interesting, especially how Alia, Rena Rouge, with this different color palette, I kind of dig the orange, but, out of nowhere, there's just like this purple cyan color or something it's called. I don't know. Very light purple. There's a word for it, but I don't know. It's a light purple. That's what I call it, and she is checking everyone to see if anyone's watching, to see before they, turn back to their normal selves. so that doesn't get caught up. And that's a good smart way of actually make sure that no one actually gets caught when they're like out of their Kwame side. Because of course in the beginning and for most of the episodes earlier in the beginning happens to have like the whole hero squad with them. As you see here in, you see the whole squad with like, it's like, Dragon, Kagami, and also Pagela, Purple Tigress, Monkey King. So good to see him in Pegasus, and just the rest of the heroes, the whole crew, and pretty much it's good that there is someone to check that, oh, is anyone watching? And Alia in the highest fourth, or pretty much in the highest building, is checking to see if anyone is in the clear. It would be cool to actually, I can only imagine if all of them actually found out like who is who, and actually know each other's identity. Like, imagine, I swear that will be an episode that I'm just like picturing. Like, it's cool that it is that I pretty much like, when I said that I really do want, the Avengers, the whole squad, the whole classroom to have, superpowers, to be heroes. That's, of course, that's what I want, and that's the coolest thing that pretty much I seen through this whole show, and that's why I never stopped watching, because that's something I want to see. Now, of course, I'm going to continue watching because there's many more aspects to check out. But having the whole crew together, and I'm just imagining, will there be an episode in whatever season, it could be in the near far future, that we will find out like who is who. Like, it's already like pretty much Alia discovering who Ladybug is. Will that continue? Will that chain continue? And I'm getting this like, prediction where I feel like that for Adrian will be like the only one that will not know who is who. Or maybe so, I think. He probably might know who Nino is, but, you never know. Pretty much anything can happen. So, of course, that's my favorite scenes. Also, another one is that seeing how, like, Shadow Mott really, seeing his vision, especially how he finds different people to akumatize. That was a cool vision, shot right there, where it's all dark and pretty much you see the lights, and it's almost like space. It's almost like a very crowded space, like space, up there in the skies, and then you go through it. Obviously, I don't even need to explain it, but basically, just like, just space, and you see almost like the stars surrounding him as it becomes dark, as he's listening, and things start to ring within the visuals, and I kind of like that. That was a very artistic flow that they, really captured. And also seeing Lila back. I don't know where she been. I mean, pretty much maybe there was a couple episodes that she returned, but out of nowhere, yeah, Lila decided to come back. I'm like, where did she came from? Like, literally, it's been a while since we saw Lila. Like, there was a couple few episodes here and there. But I don't know where Lila came back. And, of course, you can see that nobody misses Lila, especially Adrian. Adrian wasn't accepting to actually be with Lila at all. And I can see that, being with someone that you're not really that connected with or not trusting, and has to be close with Lila, because they're doing an ad shoot that last month, which is crazy. I don't know why. Like, last month, like, pretty much it would be cool, like, after the summer, like, oh, we're going to do an ad campaign. How long does it take to really shoot an ad? Like, if I was making an ad, I would give a shout out. Like, this video is brought to you by, that ish. But man, they just had to have like, this like, ad for this long or something. What is this? Is this like a Super Bowl ad? Is this like high quality ad or something? I don't know. Like, they just pretty much put it out there saying like it's an ad for like, like an ad campaign, and that's it. They just leave it at that. Or maybe it's because that Gabriel wants his son to actually be isolated much more, creating him as he is, And I'm just, I still got confused with that, for a reason. But other than that, yeah, it is what it is. Also, I want to read something here, before, I really get into other stuff, because there's something I wrote down that I really not sure if I did make sense, and that's how I tend to make my list. Let me be honest. Will risk to be stopped. I thought Shadow Mod would just end it. So, I don't know. I pretty much wrote down something of just like the risk, or this little kid that happens to have this frog suit that is, akumatized. And it was interesting how they really, like, most of the episodes I keep away was the ones that involve kids. I'm just like, whatever. Okay, like, here, seeing this kid is not knowing, even though that most of them are not that bad. It's just like, I'm just tired of seeing kids being used as, as ways to actually for Shadow Moth to help these kids to be villainized, It's kind of twisted. But anyways, moving on. We also what was this? When finding someone to kumatize, of course, I already talked about that. Seeing the whole squad again, of course, and also Kagami calling Adrian when a different phone call or something like that. That was pretty cool. It seems like Kagami really still cares about Adrian, and there's a part of me where I still want to see them together, maybe as friends at some point, or maybe sneak into a little relationship, like Kagami wanting to be tempted to be with Adrian. But Adrian has like four girls to deal with, right? Marinette, Chloe. Well, actually, just three because Marinette is the good girl, and the rest of these are just Lila and Chloe. And Chloe, like I thought, Chloe and Adrian are not to I thought like Chloe decided like, oh, we're not friends anymore, in that in Queen Banana in that episode. But out of nowhere, like it seems like Chloe is back with Adrian, and of course Lila is back out. Like there was just so many like unnecessary like filters that are just like where did this came from? How did this happen? And for many romances that I have seen, because my channel is about that, I'm there's many ways to make sense. It's just that for this one, this feels rushed. It is what it is. But yeah, Kagami calling Adrian pretty much, motivating Adrian. I like that. We see the same thing with Luca motivating with Marinette, being who you are, not being afraid. And also, like, these are the best friends to have, Adrian's cousin, twin, Felix, I think that's his name, is back. And that was also another character. It seems like all of this is beginning to be filled with returning characters that we haven't seen in a while. I haven't seen Adrian's cousin, Felix. I basically call it cousin twin, but Felix, I haven't seen him in a while, and out of nowhere is helping Adrian, which of course is makes sense because Felix wants to know more about Adrian's father. What's he hiding? And of course, finds out, and then was met with a certain amounts of horror, and there was of course like that, not surprised, but also sense that I feel like Felix could help Adrian. I feel like, Felix, a lot of times I've been seeing him as the bad guy, but he could be the good guy once he starts to know more about Gabriel, starts to more, know who like Shadow Moth is and all that, And I think, of course, he knows, but it would actually be something that he will be an assigned hero. Or, I think I had this theory before, but I don't, pretty much I kind of see that many people in the fandom don't really see it like this. But will Felix be the new Shadow Moth? It's something that in my head could make it. I mean, who am I? Okay, I'm just some random dude that's just, into Miraculous Ladybug, making these, predictions, and you don't need to listen to me. You can just pretend I'm drunk and, just, talking out of my ass, basically. But I'm just imagining, like, what if Felix was the new Shadow Moth? I'm just saying. Okay, just putting it out there. If any time that Astruck ever finds this video, was like, "Ooh, that sounds good, Vince. I see what you're doing." I was like, "Well, pay me, Astruck. What's up?" And bring Queen Chloe back. I don't know. Anyways, but no, seriously, it could happen. I don't know. I mean, many people say that Lila was going to be the new like Shadow Moth. And that was a theory a long time ago. Speaking of the theories, the whole Senti monster thing, is that still going? Because I heard that in this episode kind of ended it. I'm trying to find what scene that did that. I'm not sure if it was the Kuroneko episode, but I believe that, it was some either of these episodes that ended that theory. Anyways. Next, moving on to the list within the, different PowerPoints that I have, or if you call it that. Weak points. Will this be a better finale than last season? And I feel like it could be, because we already left off with a good episode, but it could fall off in the second, in the finale part 2, which is episode 26. Kind of curious what that will look like, But, will it fall off? I don't know. It could go either way. Then, I pretty much put something in the list of Natalie having these legs, robotic legs, and finally walking and finally out of bed. It's been a while. She's back to her shift. But I always see Natalie not really a bad guy at all. Especially due to the fact that Natalie is madly in love with Shadow Moth, and Shadow pretty much knows who Shadow Moth is, and knows that. I don't know if she knows this is all wrong, but I kind of see like she is sort of like really in love with Gabriel in a way that is something that is different because like I'm just saying, and many people that I definitely reviewed this episode will agree that Shadow Moth or Gabriel needs to move on. Listen, I have like a couple family members that passed away and something like that, loved ones even, unfortunately, and they passed away, and you don't see me really making experimental plans to actually get them back together, especially when getting these two jewels pretty much will help Gabriel be happy to revitalize his wife back, which even still wouldn't happen because we already saw that example. We already saw like I believe it was, I don't know if it was Ephemeral. I forget what episode. It's been a while, okay? But okay, at least for me. But one episode that basically showcases like why this whole like showing your identity thing to each other. I believe it was that episode was a bad idea, and also the fact that the world would end because obviously Gabriel would do anything, no matter, doesn't care about everyone else, will kill everyone to get his wife back. And there's a part of me where I really do want to see the life story behind who Gabriel is as a man. How was he when he was a teenager? What was his life like during his childhood? Like, what was it in his head that motivate him to be the person that he is? The chronicles behind the life of Gabriel, and it will be an interesting movie if that ever happens, to showcase like his painful and I hopefully it's like a painful lifestyle. Hopefully it's not the type of episode where it showcases like he's just rich and nothing ever happened to him and he's just like privileged and entitled and pretty much then that would be much more hatred and doesn't make any sense, him being the bad guy. But man, the motivations that I am just curious of, just wanting to know, how did Gabriel became the person that he is, the villain that he is, basically, and the one that is going to end the world when he does get these jewels. But other than that, he could have been with Natalie. Two of them were perfect. It could have happened that way. I wish it did. I wish it's that Gabriel and Natalie, these two villains that also know each other as the, and also the Shadow Moth to be, would not only rule the world, but also they would be together. They don't, and of course, like, what would revive, getting the wife back alive, what would that do? Like, I'm trying to see the end goal of all that. Sometimes I do. But other than that, yeah, this episode kind of, it was not bad. But also another thing I noticed is that the finale, the next week, as I'm recording this, is going to be Valentine's Day, which is coming soon, pretty much next Monday, which is my favorite holiday. But I can understand that Valentine's Day, especially my boy, Stefan, would say, like, it's the worst day ever. And I'm like, yeah, because, we're just like, we're in that life, being single, and just like, personally, I kind of like Valentine's. I like the chocolate, and also I make a lot of my videos tend to do well during Valentine's because, I read romances, and I only read romances, basically. So and also it doesn't make sense why I would hate Valentine's, but it makes sense that some people just really don't like Valentine's because when you're single, it sometimes hurts. And I'm planning to make a video like that somewhere in the future. But will the finale, the episode 26, will that aired on Valentine's? If so, we already know what's about to happen. But will the actual, and I mean the actual reveal for Adrian and also Marinette, the actual reveal, not the episode that happened before with that imaginary reveal, but will the actual reveal happen? Will that come to light with no consequences at all, with no price to pay? A reveal might happen in the finale, the main finale, which is basically the last one for season 4. I don't know. It could happen. I mean, there's so many things that happen within this season. So many things that, that also made history within the Ladybug fandom and pretty much like just happens to draw so many people within the fandom altogether, and also like having discussions like these, and having my own discussions which some would say is ridiculous because I'm not really much of a good reviewer, as you can tell, but I mean, I can dream, this I'm just like to talk about it, and pretty much, yeah, I had fun talking about pretty much Ladybug Miraculous, and see where it heads. Other than that, thank you guys for watching. Hope you subscribe, like, comment, all that jazz. Hope you enjoy my theories and predictions, and also silly nonsense surrounding this episode. But I definitely will be reviewing the finale. Which is it? The finale? Is this finale part one? I hope it is. I hope I'm not screwing up. But then again, like, who really cares, right? It's not the end of the world. Anyways, I'll see you when I see you. One love. Peace.